Now, and I think I'm right on this, but from an outsider's view, from a fan's perspective, I always viewed you as like a glue guy
Yeah.
for teams. You know what I mean? That guys that we talked about it with the with the bombing, the guys rally around and someone's got to kind of step up, and you were one of the big guys for that. And again, from an outsider's perspective, how does someone become a glue guy?
Yeah. I think it's hard. I mean, even when I was in player development, like, I was, tasked with trying to convert dudes to like glue guys. And
Right.
like I said, I don't know if it's genetic, but just some guys have it and some guys don't. I think you can become a glue guy. I think you can get taught a lot of important things to be
Yeah.
a glue guy. But man, you just really got to care about like your team, and you got to care about winning. And then most importantly, you got to be like self-aware of what you're doing. And you have to do all those things right. Like you can't jump a kid for not running to first when you don't run to first. You can't get a kid to the gym when you're not in the gym. You can't get a kid to watch video when you're not watching video. So you really got to be self-aware and self-accountable of what you're doing. There's nothing worse than a dude jumping you for not running the first when they don't run the first,
Right.
whether they're an all-star, an MVP, or not.
Right.
And then just knowing how important winning is, and winning is what it's all about, and knowing that you need 25 dudes to win, and you can't do it like on your own. And when you start getting into the business side of things with arbitration and free agency, like I'd always say, like every home run in the postseason is worth like 8 in the regular season, right? So if you have like 2 homers in the postseason, that's like a 16 homer season. It really is.
Yeah.
And you need everyone around you to rally to get there. And that's the environment. That's the pressure. That's everything. And then too, with like my childhood and not having a huge family and just going, and when you're on the field, people don't have their contracts in their back pocket. You don't know how much someone's making. You don't know what car they're driving. You don't know what house they're in. Everyone's in this same like fraternity at the same time. And there's just a couple outliers of things that can happen to be a glue guy and to stick out.
Yeah. Would you say they're like, because I've talked with different coaches, and sometimes coaches, they'll pick the kid and like, this is the leader, right? But doesn't there have to be an element of that player also being good?
Yeah.
Right, because generally, at the younger levels, everyone at the big league level is good. So, but at the younger levels,
Right.
No one really wants to follow the kid that is the worst player on the team,
Right.
even if he's doing everything right,
Right.
even if he's being selfless, if he's encouraging the teammates and everything like that. But it's like, well, Johnny's, and this guy over here is just not very good.
Totally.
So like, there is that element of like, well, I also have to look to this guy because he's a good player too.
Right.
So I'm trusting what he's saying, and I could follow this guy.
Yeah, it's hard, especially with the game of baseball, right? So the game of baseball is a results-driven industry built on failure, right? So for a glue guy, a chemistry guy, the guy that thinks like you have to have it, the guy that's passionate about it, like if you were to build a team, like I'd want 25 asshole all-stars, because this is a results-driven industry, right? But you can't, so you do have to sprinkle in a little bit. And I think that glue guy and the chemistry, the most important thing is can that guy hold the best player on the team accountable? Mm-hmm. And I think that is the biggest separation. And on the other side, it's so hard, the game of baseball, to be the best player on the team and the glue guy. So there's actually a lot of work that, takes being the glue guy. Like you got to be accountable. You got to check on everyone. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do the small stuff. The guy strikes out. You got to, sit next to him. Boom, boom. You got to hold him accountable. That's so hard to do that and to be the best player on the team. So majority of the time, the glue guy, the chemistry guy, is not the best player on the team.
Yeah.
But can that guy hold the best player on the team accountable?
Right.
And that's the biggest separation.
And does the glue guy also have to have a relationship with a coach?
Yeah.
Right? Because coach is hopefully driving the direction of the team, and that guy that's also in the clubhouse, that's not the coach, that's also pushing guys in the direction where the team needs to go.
You are like the coach's caddy.
Yeah.
Like you really are.
Yeah.
And then that is actually really hard because you can't be like the teacher's pet.
Right.
Right?
Right. You can't be viewed that way.
They
Right,
see you in the manager's office,
right?
They see you in there. And the second you rat a dude out, bro, you are gone.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, you take more arrows and bullets for guys on your team than they would ever know. Like, there's the manager call you in the office and be like, what the hell's going on with this guy? Like, you call them in, right? But I mean, to have that respect and to have that trust, to know that information is going to get relayed back, and knowing that information is going to come from me and not the manager. You know, there'd be times where we're like, bro, you're going to get called into the office, or you got to get this cleaned up, or you got to do all that. And they're like, oh, what'd they say? They didn't say anything. I'm just telling you on my own before it gets to you. Meanwhile, they did say something,
Right.
you know, to get to me to do that. So, I mean, there's got to be some safety nets and some safety blankies to get to some of these guys, because they could be the best alpha dudes, but, you know, there's some insecurities that these guys have that you got to figure out real quick. And again, like finding out what language these kids speak and what makes them tick. Is really cool. And like finding out the rosin bag and the coaching thing, like these chess matches, and when you can find what a dude, you know, and what makes him tick is really cool.
If you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the full podcast, click right here. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you find this content valuable.